How to do the German twisted cast on. Hi everyone, my name is Norman, I am from Germany, and today I want to show you the German twisted cast on method. It is also known as the Old Norwegian cast on, and it is a variation of the standard longtail cast on. So if you know how to do that, you already have a good head start. It creates a very stretchy edge, and it's actually quite pretty, but also a bit more complicated to knit. So that's why I made sure to include a couple of slow motion repeats in this tutorial. I will also show you a super easy alternative to knit it and how to do the German twisted cast on purlwise in case you want to knit some ribbing. So let's dive right into it. Start the German twisted cast on with a slip knot. I always do it like this, but you can tie your slip knot any way you like. Leave a tail that is around 3 to 4 times as long as your project will be wide. If you are knitting in the round, you can also start with a simple backward loop. And then pick up the yarn. So the working yarn is wrapped around your index finger and the tail here around your thumb. And then assume this slingshot position. If you know how to do the longtail cast on, this will be very familiar. And from here, you need to go around the loop around your thumb. So don't insert, go all the way around. And then insert your knitting needle coming from above, and then get out here on the left side, the side facing you. And now you need to grab the yarn towards the index finger coming from above. And here comes the only a little bit tricky part. You need to untwist the loop here around your thumb. And you can do this by bending your thumb and then pull through. Remove your thumb and tighten up. Start with the next cast on stitch with the slingshot position. And then again, go all the way around. Insert, get out, grab the yarn, untwist, pull through, and tighten up. One more time. Start with the slingshot. Go all the way around. Insert, get out, grab, untwist, pull through, and tighten up. Let's do it a couple of more times in slow motion. I know this is a bit more difficult, but once you practice this, you can go pretty fast. I mean, it's probably still a bit slow because you are twisting the yarn and the needle this way and that way. But I urge you to go rather slow because these cast on stitches should be evenly spaced and not, all looking differently. Once you cast on the desired number of stitches, I recommend starting your project on the wrong side by purling across. Then the German twisted cast on will create a super neat edge. Now, admittedly, this method is super complicated, but there's actually a remarkably simple alternative to knitting the German twisted cast on even a beginner will manage. Simply knit a single cast on, and I recommend doing it around 1 or 2 needle sizes bigger. So start with your standard slip knot. And the best part, you don't even need to leave a tail. So start with your slip knot. Oops. And then do your single cast on. So do a lot of backward loops around your needle, like this. And then just pick up your knitting needle and knit across. If you are familiar with the single cast on, this first round will be a bit more difficult because these stitches are twisted. But I mean, it's called the German twisted cast on exactly because you end up with twisted stitches. So let's check. Can you spot a difference? It is the exact same thing. Let me finish this. So this is the German twisted cast on, this is the single cast on, and then I knit across one row. Can you spot a difference? There is none, I promise you. This is the wrong side, and again it will look exactly the same. So the difference between the single cast on and the German twisted cast on is just that when you do the German twisted cast on, you create the first row in the same breath. And if you think about it, that's why it's so complicated, but nothing speaks against deconstructing it. And the best part, if you do the single cast on, you don't need to worry about the tail. Now, as I said, the German twisted cast on creates knit stitches in the first row. So you may want to start the first row on the wrong side if you're knitting stockinette stitch. If you knit across, your cast on edge will look like this. So you end up with one row of purl stitches, which is still pretty and I guess very easy to adapt to. But what happens if you want to knit ribbings or other patterns with a mix of knit and purl stitches? Well, in this case, you may want to consider alternating between casting on knit and purl stitches to create an extra neat edge. And I guess I have to warn you because from here things get a bit funky. So, just like before, you start with a simple slip knot and in this slingshot position. But now you don't go around the loop here around your thumb. Instead, you go around the loop here around your index finger. And then you insert from the top, get out here, and then grab the yarn towards your thumb, untwist that loop, and pull through. Tighten up. Let's do that one more time. So go all the way around the loop around your index finger. Insert your knitting needle coming from the top. Exit here towards the top. Then grab the yarn towards your thumb. Untwist the loop, pull through, and tighten up. One more time. So around the index finger. Insert, get out, grab the yarn, untwist, and tighten up. Let's do that a couple of more times in slow motion for good measure. I know this will feel very unnatural the first couple of times you're doing this, but really, if you're knitting ribbings, this is so worth it, especially if this is going to be the cuff of your socks or your hat. Then you end up with a super neat edge that is in pattern and very, very stretchy. And last but certainly not least, I quickly want to talk about the name. I have no clue whatsoever why it's called German Twisted Cast On. This method is barely known here in Germany, and those few people who know it only know it as a direct translation from English tutorials, so it's quite a mystery to me. Anyway, that's how to do the German Twisted Cast On. Please like this video if you enjoyed watching, comment with your questions, and of course, don't forget to subscribe in case you don't want to miss any new videos. Happy knitting and enjoy the rest of your day.